LJFHutch here. In this tutorial I will take you through creating gradients and then applying them using the gradient map filter. So let's start off with some basics. Alright, first off you're going to need two tabs. You're going to need the layers tab, which can be located down here. It's the white stack of what looks like paper. Secondly, you're going to need the gradients tab, and this is a little bit harder to locate since it changes depending on what gradient you have selected. If you notice here, when I change the gradients, this icon up here actually changes also. Normally, however, it will stay on foreground to background, I think the default is. So just look for something that looks like a gradient. Alright, so we're going to create a new gradient. So click on the new gradient button down here. Alright, that will bring up the gradient editor. I like to drag it across here and scale it up a little bit. It makes it easy to work with. Okay, what you see here is a segment. You have a left and a right endpoint, and you have a middle control point. Or it's actually called a handle. Alright, this is not actually enough to make most gradients, especially not the one that I will be using. So what you need to do is right click and you need to split. So split segment uniformly. Okay. We want to create, just for this, we want to create two segments. We've got one, we want to create two, so it's going to create one cut. Okay. There you have it. We now have two segments. Now, to change the color, you're going to select the segment you want. I'm going to use this one on the right, and it will go blue when you select it. Alright, with that selected, right click again, and then we want to change the left endpoint over here. So we're going to go left endpoint's color, and then it'll bring up the color selection dialog. I'm just going to choose a reddish color for this. Now, you'll notice that it only updates this segment. It does not update the left segment. So we're going to have to click over there, down here, and we'll go blue. Now we have this one selected. We want to match this grey color to be this red color. So we're going to have to change the right endpoint to match the left endpoint of this segment. So with the left segment selected, you're going to right click. The fastest and easiest way to do this is to just load the color from this section over here. So load right color from right neighbor's left endpoint. And that will match the color. Be sure then to name your gradient up here and then save. Another thing which you should know is that when using the gradient map filter, it's going to apply black to black and white to white, and then everything in between is going to be everything in between. So for instance, 50%, since this is right in the middle, will be 50% on the value, which is probably going to be like this grey here, will be this red color right here. It's going to match up like that, so you can see black to white, and it's essentially going to work off a gradient and then apply your gradient to the image like that. All you need to know is you want it basically going from black to white. Otherwise you'll get weird results, like if you have white to black, you'll actually be inverting the colors on here when you apply it. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and apply that gradient that we've got down here. This is a gradient that I created earlier based on a reference of an explosion from roughly black. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit off, but the more you deviate from black to white, the more noticeable it'll be in your image. Okay, so we're going to have to select, to do this, the layer down here in the layers dialog. This is a explosion that I created earlier. It's in black and white. And in the gradients tab, we're going to select the gradient which we're going to use, which in my case is LJFHutch explosion. And with those two selected, we can now go up to colors, map, gradient map. Okay. So you can see it has applied that gradient. And it creates a rather nice result, I find. Before this, I used to use the dodge mode of the paintbrush to bring these colors out, and I can tell you it is much, much faster, much easier, and gives much better results to use a gradient map. And this is my explosion using gradient map. Alright, I hope this helps. I hope you got something out of it. Good luck painting. See ya.